I had always trusted Jason. For 2 years, he was my first call when something went wrong, the first person I wanted to share my dreams with, and the one I thought I could count on forever. Or so I thought. It all began on a Friday night. I came home early from work, planning to surprise him with tickets to the concert he had been talking about for months. But when I opened the door to his apartment, the sight that met me froze my heart. Jason was there, with another girl. Laughing, close, like I didn't exist. "Hey, babe," he said, turning to me with a smile that I used to love. "You're home early." I stood there, speechless, my heart pounding. The other girl looked just as surprised as I felt. Hi," she mumbled awkwardly, glancing between us. "Jason, what is this?" I finally managed to choke out. "Oh, it's not what it looks like," he said quickly. "I can explain." But I didn't wait. My hands were shaking, tears threatening to fall. I turned and ran, feeling my world crumble around me. I spent the night walking aimlessly through the city streets, my mind racing. The betrayal stung like fire. How could he lie to me for 2 years? How many more lies were there that I didn't know about? The next day, I tried to contact him. His phone went straight to voicemail. I messaged him, demanding answers, but no reply came. My friends offered comfort, but their words felt hollow. The trust I had placed in Jason was shattered. Then, a week later, I discovered something that made my blood run cold. I had been scrolling through social media when I saw a photo, Jason, smiling with the same girl from that night, and a note saying, "Can't wait for our little secret to arrive." My hands trembled. A little secret. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Jason was going to be a father, and I wasn't the mother. Panic, fear, and anger collided inside me. I felt trapped in a web of lies I had never imagined. My heart screamed, but my mind raced. I needed to find out everything before it was too late. The first call I made was to my best friend, Emma. "Emma, I think Jason's been lying to me. There's a baby, and I don't know what to do." Emma's voice was steady but concerned. "Don't panic. We'll figure this out. But you need proof, Lily. We can't act on assumptions." That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart aching, mind spinning. The boy I had loved, trusted, and dreamed about had built a life of lies. And now, I had to uncover the truth before it destroyed everything I had left. The next morning, I couldn't focus on anything. Every memory of Jason, the sweet texts, the late-night calls, the promises, felt tainted, like a lie layered over every smile. I needed answers, and Emma insisted we act carefully. "We have to be smart about this," she said as we sat in the small cafe near our college. "If you confront him without proof, he'll twist it around. We need evidence, dates, maybe even witnesses." I nodded, though my hands shook. "I can't believe this. I thought I knew him." "Lily," Emma said firmly, "sometimes people show their true colors in ways we never expect. But you're strong. You'll handle it." We decided to start by investigating the social media post. A few clicks, and I realized that the girl's account wasn't private. Photos, comments, and tagged posts revealed more than I wanted to see. Jason's lies were systematic. "Look at this," I whispered, pointing to a picture of Jason at a baby shower with her family. The caption read, "So excited for our little one." I felt my stomach drop. Not only was he lying to me, but he was also deceiving everyone around him. I remembered the nights we had spent talking about the future, about trust, about honesty. And all of it had been a lie. Emma reached over and squeezed my hand. "We need to confront him. Face to face. No more waiting, no more guessing." That night, I went to his apartment. My heart pounded in my chest, every step heavy with dread. I knocked, and when he opened the door, his eyes widened. "Lily, what are you doing here?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "I need the truth, Jason. No lies. No excuses. Just the truth," I said, my voice shaking with rage and hurt. He hesitated, glancing at the couch where his other life felt like it was hidden in plain sight. "Lily, it's complicated. I didn't mean for this to happen." "Complicated?" I snapped. "You've been lying for months. I see the posts. I see the photos. Who is she? Who's the father?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Yes, I'm going to be a father. But Lily, it's not what you think. I didn't want you to find out this way." "Not what I think," I echoed, voice trembling. "Jason, the pictures say it all. The lies are everywhere. How could you do this to me?" His face fell. I was scared. "I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I could handle it alone, but I can't. I know I messed up. I turned away, tears blurring my vision. You don't get to decide how this affects me. I trusted you, and you destroyed that. I need to think. I need to breathe. I can't, not like this. He reached for me, but I pulled away. Don't touch me. Not now. Not until I figure out if I can forgive you, or if I even want to. Walking out, I felt a mix of relief and heartbreak. Relief for facing the truth, heartbreak for realizing how deep the betrayal went. Emma met me outside, her eyes full of concern. You okay? She asked softly. I shook my head. No, but I need to be. I can't let him trap me in his lies anymore. And in that moment, I vowed that no one, no matter how close, would control my life through deception ever again. The next few days were a whirlwind of confusion and anger. I avoided Jason at all costs, but the thought of him haunted me. How could someone I loved, trusted, and planned a future with, hide such a massive part of his life? Emma suggested we dig deeper. We need to know everything. How long has this been going on? Who else knows? And most importantly, what's his plan for the baby? I nodded, though the thought of uncovering more secrets made my stomach churn. We started by talking to mutual friends subtly, trying not to expose our investigation. Slowly, pieces of the puzzle emerged. Apparently, Jason had been dating the other girl secretly for months. They had moved fast, and now she was expecting. Everyone around him seemed oblivious, but the pattern of lies was clear. I felt a mix of anger and disbelief. How could someone be so manipulative? So selfish? And worst of all, how could I have missed the signs? That evening, I received a call from him. I debated answering, but my curiosity won. Lily, can we talk? His voice was hesitant. I don't know if I want to, I replied coldly. You've lied to me too many times already. I know, and I'm sorry. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. You already have, I snapped. Do you even understand what trust is? Do you even know what it means to love someone? There was silence on the other end. Then he said softly, I know I've made mistakes. Big mistakes. But I want to do the right thing. I need your advice. I need your help. My hands shook as I held the phone. Help? Jason, you put me through hell. And now you want help? Yes, he admitted. I screwed up. I can't fix the past, but I want to fix the future. I don't know how to do this alone. I exhaled, trying to control my emotions. Jason, I'll help you, but not because I forgive you. Not because I trust you. But because a baby is involved. And that child doesn't deserve to be caught in your lies. He was silent for a moment. Thank you. That's all I ask. The next few days were awkward. I set clear boundaries, no romantic contact, no personal meetings, just practical advice and planning for the future. We had to navigate the pregnancy logistics, finances, and who would be involved when the baby arrived. Through it all, I realized something important. My strength didn't come from forgiving Jason or letting him back into my life. It came from setting boundaries, standing firm, and protecting myself while still doing the right thing for someone innocent caught in his web of lies. By the end of the week, I felt a tiny spark of control returning. I wasn't trapped by his lies anymore, not fully. I had a plan, I had boundaries, and I had Emma by my side. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. The tension didn't end with boundaries. Every encounter with Jason was a reminder of how easily trust could be shattered. And every update about the pregnancy, from doctor visits to the baby's growth, felt like a punch to the gut. One evening, as Emma and I sat in my room going over the details of the baby's upcoming arrival, I admitted, I keep imagining what it would have been like if he had been honest from the start. Things could have been so different. Emma shook her head gently. Lily, you can't change him. You can't rewrite the past. All you can do is protect yourself and make sure this doesn't break you. I nodded, taking a deep breath. I know, but it's so hard. Every time I see him, even just for advice about the baby, I feel sick. The next day, I had to meet Jason at a neutral location to discuss logistics. Sitting across from him in the small cafe, I tried to stay calm. He looked nervous, guilt written all over his face. I want to make sure everything is ready, he said quietly. The baby's room, the finances. I need your help to stay organized. I exhaled sharply. I'll help, but Jason, nothing else. This is strictly about the baby. Nothing personal. Understand? Yes, he said, nodding earnestly. I understand. We spent hours going through details, checking schedules for doctor visits, arranging support from family, and planning how to handle the announcement when the time came. It was exhausting but necessary. After the meeting, as I walked home, I realized something crucial. My life wasn't on hold anymore, despite the chaos Jason had caused. I had reclaimed control by helping responsibly, staying firm, and keeping my emotions in check. That night, Emma called. "How did it go?" I smiled wearily. "We actually made progress. Boundaries were respected. I didn't break down. I feel stronger than I have in weeks." "That's my Lily," she said, proud. "Remember, strength isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about facing them without letting anyone else control you." Lying in bed, I felt a sense of clarity I hadn't experienced since the betrayal. Jason's lies had tried to trap me, but I had escaped, not by forgiving blindly, but by choosing myself, my morals, and the well-being of an innocent life. And for the first time in days, I allowed myself a small smile. I was ready for whatever came next. The following weeks were a mix of exhaustion and small victories. Jason tried, sometimes clumsily, to keep up with responsibilities, and I continued to set boundaries firmly. But even with structure, the emotional toll was heavy. One evening, I received a call from the other girl, Emily. I had never spoken to her, but now I had no choice. She sounded nervous, almost fragile. "Hi, Lily?" she asked hesitantly. "Yes," I replied cautiously. "What's this about?" I don't know who else to call," she admitted. "Jason, he's overwhelmed. I'm scared. I don't want my baby to grow up in chaos. I need someone to help manage things, and I thought maybe you could." My chest tightened. So she knew about me, about Jason. And yet, there was no malice in her voice, only fear. "Okay," I said carefully. "We can talk. But I'm only helping because the baby needs stability. Nothing else." Emily's relief was palpable. Thank you so much. I promise, I just want to do the right thing for the baby." Over the next few weeks, we coordinated schedules, doctor visits, and preparation for the baby. Slowly, the three of us, Jason, Emily, and I, found a delicate rhythm. There was tension, of course, and occasional arguments, but the shared goal of the baby's well-being kept us moving forward. One night, after a particularly tense day of appointments, I sat in my room with Emma, tears streaming down my face. "I didn't sign up for this," I confessed. "I didn't expect to be part of this complicated mess. But I can't stop now. I can't let the baby pay the price for Jason's lies." Emma hugged me tightly. "You're incredible, Lily. Not everyone could do what you're doing. You're strong, compassionate, and responsible. That baby is lucky to have you in their life, even indirectly." I took a deep breath, letting her words sink in. Perhaps this wasn't the life I had imagined. Perhaps it was messy, painful, and full of betrayal. But maybe, just maybe, it could also be a life where I proved to myself that I could rise above the chaos. That night, as I lay in bed, I realized something important. Strength didn't mean ignoring pain. It meant acting with purpose despite it. And as long as I kept that in mind, I could navigate anything Jason's lies had created. As the pregnancy progressed, the tension between Jason and Emily occasionally erupted into arguments. I often found myself caught in the middle, trying to mediate without losing control. It was exhausting, emotionally draining, and sometimes I wondered how much longer I could keep it together. One afternoon, Jason called me, voice tight with frustration. "Lily, I don't know what to do. Emily and I keep fighting, and it's making everything worse. The baby's health, her stress, my guilt. I feel like I'm failing at everything." I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "Jason, you're not failing at everything. You're making mistakes, yes, but the fact that you're trying now is what matters. Calm down, plan carefully, and communicate respectfully. The baby needs stability more than anything else." He paused, swallowing his pride. "You're right. I don't want to mess this up." "You won't," I reassured him. "But you need to step up, not just for Emily, but for your child. And remember, boundaries are crucial. I'm here to help, but only in ways that protect everyone involved, including me." After the call, I felt a mix of exhaustion and determination. It was difficult, balancing empathy with boundaries, but it was necessary. If I wanted to survive this situation without being hurt further, I had to stay strong. Later that week, I visited Emily. She was quiet, her eyes tired from stress. "Lily, I don't know how I would do this without you," she admitted softly. "You'll manage," I said. "You're stronger than you think. And we'll get through this together. The baby will have stability because we all care enough to set our differences aside." Emily nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. "I hope Jason learns. I hope he grows into this. He will, I said, cautiously optimistic. Or at least, he'll try. And that's all we can expect sometimes. As I walked home that evening, I realized how much I had changed. The naive girl who trusted blindly had grown into someone who could face betrayal, manage chaos, and still act with compassion. I didn't feel like a victim anymore. I felt like someone capable of handling life's darkest twists with purpose. And for the first time since Jason's lies came to light, I felt a sense of control, a sense that no matter how messy life became, I could navigate it, and even protect an innocent life along the way. As the due date approached, the tension and anticipation grew. Every appointment, every update from the doctor carried weight. I could see the anxiety in Emily's eyes and the nervousness in Jason's every word. And yet, through it all, I realized how much I had learned about myself, how to stand firm, manage emotions, and still act with compassion. One evening, Emily called me in tears. "Lily, I think something's wrong. The baby's moving less, and I feel scared." I grabbed my coat and rushed to her apartment. Seeing her pale and panicked, my heart raced. "Okay, we're going to the hospital. Stay calm. I'm right here." At the hospital, doctors reassured us that everything was mostly fine but kept her under observation. Hours passed like days, tension thick in the air. Jason held Emily's hand, guilt and worry written all over his face. "I'm so sorry," he whispered repeatedly. "I never meant to put you through this, or anyone." Emily shook her head, tears falling. "It's not just you, Jason. We all have to be responsible now. For the baby." I stayed quiet, offering support silently, knowing that my role was crucial. I couldn't fix the past, but I could help guide them through the present. Finally, the baby kicked strongly, and the doctor smiled. "Looks like everything is stabilizing. You're in the clear, for now." Relief washed over all of us. Jason exhaled, his shoulders slumping. "Thank God." Emily smiled weakly, leaning on my shoulder. "Thank you, Lily. I don't know what I would have done without you." I shook my head, smiling through my own exhaustion. "You're strong. You can do this. I'm just helping make sure the path isn't completely impossible." That night, as I walked home, I realized that life had forced me to grow up faster than I expected. Betrayal, lies, fear, they could have broken me. But instead, they had forged a strength I never knew I had. I wasn't just surviving. I was navigating, protecting, and guiding when it mattered most. And as I lay in bed, I made a silent promise to myself. No matter what happened next, I would not be trapped again. By lies, by deceit, or by anyone else's choices. I was stronger than that. I was ready. The final weeks before the baby arrived were a whirlwind of preparation and anxiety. Emily, Jason, and I worked together to get everything ready: nursery setup, baby clothes, feeding schedules, and emergency plans. Every decision reminded me how high the stakes were, and how much responsibility we carried. One evening, Emily confided in me, voice trembling. "Lily, I don't know how I'm going to manage once the baby comes. I feel so scared." I took her hand gently. "You're not alone. We're going to get through this together. You're stronger than you think, and Jason, he's learning too. But remember, boundaries are key. Don't let fear make you overextend yourself." Jason, standing nearby, nodded quietly. "I'll do whatever it takes. I know I messed up before, but I want to make it right now." We spent that night planning schedules, discussing who would be at the hospital, and arranging support from family and friends. It was exhausting, but necessary. I realized that, despite the chaos, a new sense of stability was emerging. 2 nights later, Emily went into labor. The panic was instant. I rushed to her apartment, calling Jason on the way. His voice was shaky. "I'm on my way. I'm coming." At the hospital, the intensity of labor hit us immediately. Emily gripped my hand tightly, moaning through the pain. Jason held her other hand, tears streaming down his face. "You're doing amazing," he whispered repeatedly. Hours passed in a blur of fear, determination, and heart-stopping moments. Every contraction, every cry of pain, felt amplified in the tense silence of the delivery room. Finally, the moment came. The baby's first cry pierced the air, filling the room with relief and awe. Emily sobbed with exhaustion and joy. Jason trembled, holding the tiny life in his hands. "It's a boy," the nurse said, smiling. "Healthy and strong." Tears welled up in my eyes as I watched them. After months of lies, betrayal, and chaos, a new life had come into the world, innocent, fragile, and beautiful. Jason turned to me, voice choked with emotion. Thank you, for everything. I don't deserve you. I shook my head, smiling softly. You don't, but the baby deserves stability, love, and honesty. That's what matters now. Emily held her son close, whispering softly, we can do this together. And in that moment, I understood something profound. Even the deepest betrayal could lead to growth, responsibility, and new beginnings. Life wasn't perfect, but we had survived, and we had learned the true meaning of resilience, compassion, and strength. After the birth, life settled into a new rhythm, though the tension of the past weeks still lingered. Emily adjusted slowly, learning to care for her newborn while processing the chaos that had led up to this moment. Jason, too, was forced to grow up quickly, stepping into responsibilities he had long avoided. I became the quiet anchor between them, helping coordinate schedules, mediating disputes, and ensuring the baby always had stability. Sometimes it felt overwhelming, but I knew my presence made a difference. One afternoon, while Jason was at work, Emily confided in me. Lily, I've been thinking, I don't want the past to define this child. I want them to grow up knowing honesty, love, and support, not lies. I smiled gently. Exactly. That's why we're here. You're already doing the right thing by setting boundaries and making responsible choices. The baby will feel that love every day. Later, Jason returned, exhausted but determined. I know I can't fix the past, he admitted. But I want to be the father my child deserves. You can't erase your mistakes, I said firmly, but you can act responsibly now. That's what matters. And remember, boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. Slowly, the three of us found a delicate balance. There were arguments, moments of tension, and occasional setbacks. But there were also laughter, milestones, and small victories, first smiles, first laughs, and the quiet satisfaction of doing the right thing. One night, after a particularly hectic day, I sat alone, reflecting. I realized that my life had been transformed by betrayal, lies, and chaos, but not destroyed. I had discovered resilience, patience, and strength I didn't know I had. The baby, asleep in Emily's arms, stirred slightly. I watched the tiny fingers grasp her shirt and thought about how fragile life could be, and how vital it was to protect what mattered. Through deception and heartbreak, I had learned a powerful lesson. Honesty, courage, and compassion could overcome even the deepest betrayal. And with these principles guiding me, I could face anything. Weeks passed, and life gradually found a rhythm. Emily, Jason, and their baby were learning together, discovering the routines and responsibilities that came with parenthood. Laughter and cries, sleepless nights and tiny victories, they all became part of the new normal. I visited them often, helping wherever needed, but always careful to maintain my boundaries. The lessons I had learned, about trust, resilience, and self-respect, guided every action. One evening, as we all sat together in the living room, Jason looked at Emily holding the baby and then at me. Lily, I don't know how I would have managed without you. You kept us grounded. I smiled softly, brushing my hair back. I didn't do it for you. I did it because the baby deserved stability, and someone had to make sure things didn't spiral out of control. You're the parent now, do it responsibly. Emily nodded, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, Lily, for guiding us, for being strong, for caring, even when it wasn't easy. The baby stirred in her arms, tiny fingers reaching out. Jason gently touched them, a mix of awe and responsibility on his face. We'll do better, he whispered. I realized then that life had taught me something profound. Betrayal and lies could wound deeply, but they could also forge strength, clarity, and purpose. I had been tested, and I had survived. Not by forgiving blindly, but by standing firm, protecting the innocent, and refusing to be trapped again. As I left their home that night, I felt a quiet sense of peace. The chaos, pain, and uncertainty had passed, leaving lessons that would guide me for the rest of my life. I knew there would be challenges ahead, but I also knew I could face them. And most importantly, I had learned that even when people disappoint us, even when lies threaten to destroy trust, compassion, responsibility, and inner strength could create a future worth living, and someone's innocence could still be preserved. I smiled to myself, thinking about the little life asleep in Emily's arms. This is the start of something real, I whispered. A new beginning, for all of us.